just at the grocery store, and there was a sign for a section specifically called collectibles, which was very strange to me. It's have a designated space specifically for collectible things at a grocery store, nonetheless. Upon investigating the actual products they were offering, though, I found that none of the things they were offering were even legitimately close to being collectibles. I think whoever probably filled that space on the shelf just didn't even recognize that the collectible sign was above the shelf, which I would understand, because again, that seems like such an out-of-place thing. I've decided that I can no longer collect limited run games releases, and I'm making this video here to vocalize this decision so that I cannot go back on it later, or at least it makes it a little bit more tangible. I can still go back on it later. I can go back on lots of things. My decision has nothing to do with the company. I think limited run games is great, and I fully support what they do, and I wish I could continue to support what they do. The reason I can't is it really has something to do with me. I've made a realization lately that it drives me bonkers to have unplayed games in my video game library. I'm not a collector, and I think maybe that's one of the things that prevents me from being a collector, is that idea that you can't necessarily have time to enjoy everything that you collect is a little off-putting to me. So off-putting for me, I should say. Other people who are able to do that's fantastic, and I wish I could. I just can't. I can't do that. And it's taken a while to come to this realization, but it finally dawned on me that is something that bugs me. And so the release rate of limited run games between 2, sometimes 4 or more a month just does not jive with my ability to play those games that often. I just don't have time. I have a family, a full-time job. I can't do that. So I'm going to stop doing that. And this is after about 55 to 60 or so games that have been released so far. So I have been a limited run games collector since almost the very beginning. I do have every single PlayStation 4 release that they've had so far. So I've been a loyal fan for a while and still will be a loyal fan. But I'm just I can't get the games anymore. And they're usually great games, not anything against the game quality. The idea that something is marketed specifically as a collectible is inherently gross to me, because you are capitalizing upon the collector mentality, right? If you put numbers on the spine of a book or numbers on the spine of a game, or you put the word collectibles number 1 of X on any product, you're tapping into this certain demographic of people who can't help but accumulate and collect. Now, that is a reality that I believe is totally fine, because the collectors themselves embrace this mentality for the most part. I have to stress that I don't have fault for the companies that do that, especially a company like Limited Run Games, where they themselves are collectors. I mean, they're coming at it truly from a perspective of a fellow collector. They know the joy that you can get from having full sets of things. In fact, some of the correspondence I've had with them, or I've seen from them, show that they are really, really collector forwards. For example, if you are a collector and you have all of the games in a certain series, and you put it in order, there's a chance that they could bump you up a little bit in the priority in the queue for the next release of their limited game, so that you can maintain that full set, or at least you could work with them to figure something out if you want to maintain that full set. And so they're very cool like that. They're not this corporate company that's going to distance themselves from their core demographic. So I really like them for that. And there's also communities that can be built up around collectibles, which I think is a really, really cool concept, and probably the primary benefit of the collectible mentality, especially when it comes to video games. You know, video game conferences, conventions always have the booths to sell stuff, and they're selling primarily to collectibles. There's a few casual gamers there, sure, but you're able to meet up in real life with fellow collectors, and I think that's a super cool idea. I would be interested to know in the comments below if anyone else has this strange way about them where they can't have unplayed games on their library.